Woodlands Senior Living is boasting an impressive accomplishment at all its locations across Maine. Recently, Woodlands Senior Living in Brewer received a gold seal of approval from the Joint Commission, a national accrediting body. This means all 10 Woodlands facilities in the state have now earned their accreditation. The organization says it is the first assisted living provider in Maine to achieve this accreditation status company-wide. Representatives say they wanted to go above and beyond what is required of them through the normal licensing process.
I think what it means is that, we've proven not just to the licensing bodies in the state of Maine, but again to an independent third party that we're meeting or exceeding the strictest standards of care and safety and preparedness that we can.
Other Woodlands Senior Living locations in our area include Rockland, Hollowell, Waterville, Madison, and Farmington.